Welcome to Six Picks Music, a podcast for people who dress their entire family in a themed Halloween costume. Welcome back, listener, and to all of listeners' friends joining us for the first time. This is Six Picks Music, where we talk about 6 songs centered on a theme. I'm Dave, and as always, I'm joined by Jeffro.
Hey, baby.
And Russ.
What's up, guys?
With the 3 of us to evenly divide up 6 songs, we each get to bring 2 of our favorites. But before we get too far down the road, we gotta get the doors unlocked. Jeffro, what's our password today?
Touch my tutor, smoocher.
Touch My Tutor Smoocher is very on brand for our episode today. Let's open up the doors. So, you may have guessed it, dear listener, if you are a fan of this band and you took it from the password that the theme this week is Ween. But not just Ween, the band, but more the 2 sides of Ween. We're going to be talking about the very brown early beginnings of Ween, and then the lesser brown, more produced periods of their catalog.
Why don't you define brown for those who don't know?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Who doesn't know already? There's a poopy version and a post-poopy version of Ween. That's what brown means. You know what I think? I think Russ is a little concerned that we are focused on a specific band that we all do like, but we don't want the show to be too niche. So check it out. Ween was a band that formed roughly in 1984, made up of 2 8th-grade dudes from New Hope, Pennsylvania, named Mickey Mokiondo and Aaron Freeman. And their pseudonyms are Dean and Gene Ween. And these guys, they lucked out in that they were starting to play gigs right around the time that major labels wanted very weird alternative bands to sign. And they were happy to provide weird alternative shit. And so their first stuff is a celebration of oddness, and then they become like a proper band. So we have 2 different eras of Ween, one that's kind of punk as fuck and weird and strange, and another one that's like writing really good songs. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, the crazy weird Ween and the band, the more accessible band Ween.
I was going to say, I think there's still some really great songs that you'll find in that early era.
No doubt about it.
It's funny because when I was a young lad using Google for the first time, I wanted to have the inside track on when Ween tickets were going on sale. So I created a Google alert for Ween. I'll get those alerts still. I created this thing like 10 years ago, but it still sends me everything every now and again. But it's funny because this last fall, I got an alert for Ween in Austin, and I was like, oh shit, they're coming to Austin. And I clicked on it, and it was a Halloween link about some bullshit that was like Halloween. And speaking of disappointing Halloweens, I've got the gold this week. So it's 1986, and my dad has taken a job in Dallas, Texas, and I was born in Amarillo in the morning, like the song.
Amarillo by morning.
Yeah, that's the one.
From San Antonio.
And
everything that I've got.
And
it's
right.
just what I got on.
So we're gonna fly to visit my dad and look for a house and eventually move. And it's Halloween. And my aunt, she works in one of the logistics departments at Southwest headquarters. And my mom's like, well, we're flying on Halloween. Do people dress up? And Aunt Judy said, yeah, everybody dresses up. We're all dressed up. They should totally dress up. And so my mom has this plan that she's going to dress us up as we fly from Amarillo to Dallas. And this was in the era where my mom sewed all of our costumes. She created them herself. And it just so happened that our next door neighbor had recently passed away, and she was a cancer patient who was in chemotherapy. And so when she died and her son was clearing out her house, he had this big box of wigs that, he brought over to the house and said to my mom, "Do y'all want these wigs?" And of course my mom's like, "Of course we want these wigs. The boys will wear them and it'll be..."
I can't believe where this is headed. I can't believe this.
"It'll be an adventure, they'll dress up and they'll do all kinds of stuff."
So it's just a collection of cancer wigs then, huh?
That we're now wearing as like 8 and 6-year-olds. And so my mom's looking at this box of wigs. She's looking at her sewing machine, and she's like, "I know. We'll make clown costumes. We'll be clowns. We'll be a family of clowns."
I know what we'll do.
So,
we'll make skin costumes, and it'll be Silence of the Lambs, guys.
anyways, she sews the shit out of 4 clown costumes that she, myself, and my 2 brothers all wear to the airport with our fucking suitcases and backpacks to get on the plane. And we're all just like looking at her saying, "Mom, really? Are we going to really do this?" And she's like, yeah. Aunt Judy said everybody dresses up. It's a whole thing. There'll be candy everywhere. Like, we'll go and it'll be fun. All right. So we go to the airport and we pull up and we park and we walk in with all of our shit. And there's nobody in a costume. Not a one person.
Of course there's not.
And they look at my mom's ID and they look at her clown face and they look at us and our clown faces and they say, "All right, cool, go on in," and just let us on the plane. And sure as shit, not a one person on the flight was wearing a fucking costume. We get there, my little brother is crying, I'm so fucking mad, and she's like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. Aunt Judy said everybody dresses up, and so I thought it would be fun."
Aunt Judy's a fucking liar.
Well, so we get in the car, we get the rental, and then we drive over to headquarters where Aunt Judy actually works, and we walk in the door, and everybody's in a fucking costume. Everybody at the office is, but nobody in the fucking airport is.
The office.
Ugh. God.
Were you guys cool at the office, or were they like, ugh?
No. Well, they were like, "Oh, cute, you guys are in a costume." And we were all so fucking angry that it didn't matter. They gave us a little bit of candy, and then like that was how I met the city of Dallas, where we would eventually move, and I would spend, the formative years of my life through 2nd grade to high school.
Cancer clowns.
I think you should kick us off, Jeff. I think you've got the goods.
Ween is a band with its own mythos. They have a god with whom they commune. His name is Bugnish. They first recorded in a place called The Pod, which was a communal house in New Hope, and they had a tiny room in which they recorded their first 3 albums, which are the brownest of the brown. So album 1, God, Ween, Satan, The Oneness. Album 2, The Pod. Album 3, Pure Guava. And so the picks for today, you guys nailed The Pod. You're all over The Pod.
No, we each have a different album.
Apologies. Yes, I should have refamiliarized myself with your picks right before this.
He's a real big fan, listener. He's a real big fan.
Oh, don't even do this. I am a big fan. So I needed to round it out with one from the 3rd album, which is Pure Guava. And the song that I chose is Big Jim.
Big Jim!
The songs that I chose are the first one is meant to be emblematic of a Ween style from the Brown period, which is that both of them are on the mic interacting, and you could tell that they went ahead and recorded the entire track of music, partially using, I think they're just using a 4-track, and so they have like, I think, a drum machine on it, and a guitar part, and it comes in and goes like, rolling down the tube, and it just goes right into the song. So Gene is singing what are by all accounts weird lyrics. He's one of the greatest weird lyricists of all time. Lots of stuff about eyeballs and don't squelch the weasel and stuff like this. And in this one, It's him singing weird lyrics and making weird noises because he pitches his vocals different ways and does all kinds of stuff. And then Dean is on guitar and shouting Big Jim at him over and over. And so at first it goes in rhythm with the music and it's like do 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 Big Jim, and it's predictable when it's gonna happen. And then by the end of the song, it totally breaks down, and he's just screaming Big Jim, Big Jim. And then when he's doing that, Gene is going, "What's the biggest thing you ever? Don't say Big Jim. Don't say Big Jim." And so they're trying to make each other laugh on the track, and it's working. And the whole song falls apart by the end, but it still works. What's key about it is that the guitar riff is good. The melody's kind of good. It's a catchy song. They're already showing that they have the potential to be not just a celebration of oddness, but an actual badass band.
You talking about the breakdown is made me laugh because it's so true. It just falls apart and it's hilarious.
Yeah, and that's
I do
the part,
love how
that's
they
the part
try
of
to
the
like
song that
go.
Maybe we should raise hands,
doing it
guys.
right
Do you want
now?
to raise hands?
Are you doing it right now, making this breakdown? Is that to mirror?
Is it a what?
Yeah. Don't say Big Jim.
Don't say Big Jim. That's a big
That's a part of the
Jim
song
you've
that I
ever
still...
seen.
Yeah, that's a part of the song I selected. Is a part where it's kind of going from being a song to falling apart lyrically.
That's it. I mean, like, it falls apart. They're like, that's fine. This is going to be a great one. Here we go.
Yeah, which is kind of, I think, our podcasting style.
Yeah, very much. Very, very brown.
So fast forward to the year 2000. So Pure Guava, I think, is 1993. Russ, fact check me on that.
Pure Guava's 92.
92. After that, they have albums in 94, which is kind of a break point. And then they have a country record, and then they have a sea shanty record, and then they have White Pepper. And so White Pepper was accessible enough that they played Letterman in support of this album, White Pepper. And they come out and Gene's wearing sunglasses and black clothes, and Dean's over there shredding, and they just look kind of cool. They look put together. They're almost 30 years old or right around there, and they're turning into like a pro band with a great drummer and great musicians, and they play the song Exactly Where I'm At. Exactly Where I'm At is a song that I think marks this shift to just excellent songwriting and musicianship, and also songs that can take you to that magical rock kingdom that we all try to travel to. Gene in the lyrics, he's letting you in to the fact that he's hidden in the past behind the abstract. He says, I may fall back on the abstract. It'd be exactly where I'm at. And he's saying that before I was being silly, I was being playful, I was misdirecting people, but I am a serious person sometimes, and I have serious ideas, and some of those in the future might be on display. So this is a song that it's the lead on White Pepper, and it's marking a shift in the kind of music that they're gonna play.
I love this song too. One of the things that I think is great about not just this song but this album, I always heard that White Pepper was kind of like an amalgamation of their influence of trying to do like a White album and a Sgt. Pepper album combined.
I think the way it went was they turned the album in without a title, and someone said, this is like your White album, or no, maybe it's more like your Sgt. Pepper album. And they said, White Pepper. Okay, cool. We're doing it. Like, in true
perfect.
Ween style, just do whatever you want.
Yeah, fucking A, right? But like just the beginning verse or whatnot is the vocal is back, and it's kind of like in a different it's filtered in a different way. And then when he comes in with the
I'm all staged,
when he's like, I'm staged, and it's like, and then it's presentation, and then it's like up front and loud and big, just like the new record is, and all just I don't know. I thought that was an interesting touch.
And he still does really strange stuff with the lyrics at the beginning. He said, "And to think you've got a grip. Well, look at yourself. Your lips are like two flaps of fat. They go front and back and flappity, flappity, flap." But
Yeah.
it's going to this like beautiful intro music, and then it hits. I'm all stage. It's all an act. It's so good, dude. So good. I think it's time
It's great.
now for somebody else to hit us with some Brown.
Yeah, no, I'll go next. One of the things I really love about the Brown sound is that it's not always the first place that new Wayne fans start. There's so many people that have been day one diehards or whatnot, but I didn't get to do that. So I had to come back to the catalog as we went through and saw songs at shows, and that's one of the reasons why I love this song, is just because I've seen them play this song a number of different times, and that is off of the pod, and that's Demon Sweat. And so this song is interesting because it's just over 4 minutes long, and it's only half of it has any kind of lyrics, and so it's sort of the very early glimpses into the fact that this band can really fucking just jam.
Wasn't the pod written or maybe recorded when they both had mono?
Well, there's a story there too, but I think they recorded the record from January to October. Like, they spent literally 10 months recording the record that ultimately ended up being 23 tracks. I do think that, yeah, there's a story that they had mono when they were.
Yeah, and there's a song called Mononucleosis on here, and then there's another one. So they both had mono, and they were both apparently huffing a lot of Scotch Guard during this one. That's one of the it might be an apocryphal story, but it's a story about this.
Yeah, they've kind of said after the fact that didn't really happen, but they let that one go. They were like, that's fine. We're cool with being the Scotch Guard band.
Yeah, so I think that they were falling in love with people. They probably did have mono. There's a lot about sweat and tasting the waste on this record, and they were also eating a bunch of pork roll, egg, and cheeses. And so there's a song that's called Pork Roll, Egg, and Cheese. Another one called She Fucks Me. That's about pork roll, egg, and cheese, and then also somebody fucking him.
So it's pretty out there. I see this song as about, you can get real deep on the analytics of it, but it is about, I think, either a lover or a loved one leaving and just coming to terms with that new isolation, and then the sweat is either just kind of that loneliness, or maybe that side effect of addiction, or who knows. Like, they were probably like 20 years old and just making up words, but it doesn't really matter, because you get halfway through the song and then fucking Diener just rips into a guitar solo that will melt your fucking brain, regardless of whether or not you've had any kind of substance in your body.
I like it in bands when you listen to some of their earlier stuff and you can hear what they will become, and you can hear
100%.
like the unleashing of their potential. And this is one of those songs, like, not only is he writing great lyrics, I mean, it's like, the wind flows and it's blowing cold, and I'm still here gripping onto what's not around. Now it's also clear to me now. Gripping onto what's not around. That's some good stuff. And then you get the face melter from Diener. And so it's just this like
No, you're
song
right.
that's got all the stuff.
So it's like, it goes from that kind of really intense lyric to ending with boop boop doo doo boop doo 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 doo.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like bluesy scatting through it. I read that this they say this is their Phil Collins song, and it has a very face value
awesome.
kind of application to it. And
That's funny.
so yeah, I think it's Brown, because it rips into that space where it becomes this jammer of a track. We're really new to the podcast world, and certainly open to any sponsorships that are coming our way, and we've got one that I think we met with earlier today, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's a local cidery company here in Texas.
Really good guys.
We had a really nice lunch with the two brothers, John and Anthony Dickin, and their company is Dickin Cider. So we are really happy to bring Dickin Cider on board as our first beverage sponsor of the pod. So welcome aboard. It's delicious. It's crisp. It's something that you can have every day. It's not habit forming, perfectly fine to have a Dickin Cider every day. After a long day at work, there's nothing better. If you're stressed out, try a Dickin Cider. On your birthday, it's the day of the year that you better get a Dickin Cider. If you got great expectations, settle for nothing less than a Dickin Cider. Thank you, Dickin Cider, for your sponsorship. And the next segment is potentially brought to you by Dickin's Cider.
Support local ciders, guys.
All right, so I'm going to jump from my very, very early brown into my kind of still pretty brown, but not so brown from a production value, going to the Mollusk, and the track is Mutilated Lips. Now, this song is one of the most wild tracks that I think I've ever heard. I think the acoustic guitar in it is playing chords that just sound so incredibly weird and so beautiful at the same time. And then like the vocals on it are distorted and in different octaves and talking about really weird things. And I think it really highlights one of the aspects of Ween that I truly love, is just sort of like the storytelling quality that they bring to all of their songwriting. I feel like there's always this world that they're building, and particularly with the Mollusk, which is an entire concept. There's so many different concepts that they try to dig into throughout their catalog, but this is their sea shanty record, as Frodo said earlier. But yeah, everything is about the ocean. The cover of the record has this crazy looking sea creature with tentacles and all kinds of different unreal monstrous things upon it. And
the cover of the record is by Storm Thorgerson, who was the same person that designed Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon record cover. And he said that the Mollusk was the best record he had heard in 20 years.
I love all of his artwork, and that's one of the nice things about collecting vinyl is really the cover art. It's great. So
here we go.
I know. Fuck me. Fuck my ass. But
do you have the Mollusk on vinyl?
I do. It actually came in a 3 vinyl set that they did with White Pepper and with 12 Golden Country Greats.
That was before I was buying, and I really screwed up not buying that. I need to have all of those.
Pretty fortunate to have been buying vinyl when these were all really easy to get, and so I have just about all of them. There's a couple that I don't, but
that hurts me.
Well, come down. You can play them. We'll listen to it. But, so anyway, Mutilated Lips is great. It's got a great guitar riff, and there's 3 different guitars in it that are going at the same time. So it's like Jeaner's playing the acoustic, and then Dean's got all these little fill-ins, and there's a third one that I'm not sure if they track or if they have somebody else playing it when they do it live, but it's so good and so weird, and it makes me uncomfortable, kind of like spinal meningitis does, but it's also one of my favorite songs of all time.
They recorded this record too, in a little beach house in New Jersey, but it was during the winter, and so it was frigid cold outside. And Jeaner had a book of Irish shanties, which they drew on to do a couple of the songs. And then they also their equipment flooded, and Gene also broke up with somebody, so they were super depressed. So there was a story about that Dean told that one night. He was like, all right, let's take $50 and go put it on red at the casino and see if we win. and if we win, we'll go eat some steak. And so they went and they doubled up their money. They did win. And then they went and had a big steak dinner to try to cheer Gene up. And so like, but some of the darkness of like imagine a winter on the beach in New Jersey, like how depressing that would be. Some of that, like, that coldness finds its way into this record. Like there are pockets of desolation mixed with, like, you know, acid rock mixed with sea shanty, you know? So it's a really cool record.
So that's my Not So Brown. And Russ, what do you got for us this week?
So my Brown song is You Fucked Up. You Fucked Up is the inaugural Ween song. It's the first song off the first album called God, Ween, Satan, the Oneness. Though,
so suddenly now Russ cares about debut singles. Like, this is, he cares about the rules all of a sudden, even though it doesn't apply.
Finally, I got the rules, guys. I figured it out. I did it.
It took him 4 episodes. He's so harmed by his failure.
And so I think they wrote this song when they were 16. So,
right.
You know, and it shows. This one for sure, it shows. It's, it's a brief minute, 37 seconds, though most songs are on that record. But it's just this unhinged overreaction to a girl breaking Jeaner's heart by doing something, but we don't know what, right? It doesn't even matter. He's just freaking out and just losing it. Almost like what Jeff was saying, how the song breaks down. He like stutters over the words or stumbles over them as he's like what people get when they're so angry. It's like my favorite part of the song. Yeah, he says, you fucked up, you sloppy little shit. Bitch, or whatever. He just like,
yeah, I can't even figure out what words you wanted to use.
Right, it's hilarious. And he calls
her
her
Nazi bitch.
Hey, you fucking Nazi whore. Yeah. So it's like a straight up punk song, right?
Yeah.
And it's even got the anti-fascism in it. If you were to put that on, you're like, okay, this is a definite punk album. But then it just goes to Tick right after it, and you're like, whoa, what are we in for? So.
Oh, Tick is so good too. But yeah, again, I think this is one of the things that's really fantastic is that there's this narrative storytelling aspect to the world building that they've used in their songwriting form. It's like you want to know, like, what did she do? Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? Who is she? What's her name? You know, it's like there's all of this stuff that in a very quick minute 30 they've created a space that feels very real and very.
But on the same record, and we don't know if any of this is about things that actually happened or if they're just channeling this anger. It's interesting that it is the first song on the record and it really comes out of the gates because it just starts with yeah fuck and then
new listeners like, oh, I heard this band is pretty cool, I'm gonna go buy this CD and like put it in, and the first track is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have. You can definitely
tell it's like a time and a place. You know, this is the late 80s. They're a party band that are teenagers at the time. This is probably the song that they're starting the house party. They blow the doors off with this thing.
Yep.
You know, and people are like, yeah, and it gets everybody really into it. And then, you know, on the same record, you have Don't Laugh, I Love You, which is a real sweet little song about loving somebody. And then there's Birthday Boy, which is pondering, you know, it's about aging, sort of, and your relationship to your parents. And so there's like a lot of sweet stuff on this record, too. It's not all misogynistic, you know, like,
right.
Which has been a concern for them because they're so unfiltered that at times, you know, they've recorded things that probably now they would think twice about, but you know, they were growing up. They were children when they made this.
Well, I mean, I remember hearing that song when I was younger, right? And I was like, yeah, like I know exactly how you feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listening to it again, you know, I mean, in depth in the last week or so, I was like, old me is like, Jesus, man, pull yourself together.
Yeah, this is
control yourself.
This is very aggressive.
On the same record, Russ, there's another Prince cover. So in previous eps, you've discussed Prince cover by Foo Fighters, of course, Darling Nikki, and on this one is LMLYP, which of course stands for Let Me Lick Your Pee.
And not penis. But
yeah, PUSS.
Poussoir.
Poussoir is nice. That's actually, I like the French. I like the French
You
translation.
like the French pussy? That's what
Yeah,
she's
it
like.
makes me feel better about it. I really don't like that word very much. So I always try to fill it in with like puss in boots or something stupid like that.
The Europhile Jeffro loves
I know.
poussoir.
Poussoir.
Yeah, well, fucking A. Take us not so brown.
Yeah, the post Brown, I went off of Quebec, 2003, the ending track, which was If You Could Save Yourself, in parentheses, you'd save us all. This song is, the first time I heard Quebec was with Jason. He bought this album and used to play it all the time.
Wasn't it stuck in the CD player of his car for
Yeah, I
like
got
8
stuck in there.
years? And that was the only thing that you could listen to when you rode with
That
it?
one song?
No, Quebec.
No, the album.
The record.
Yeah.
There are worse things.
100%.
Anyway, so the first time I heard this song, I just loved it. It's it's a song about a relationship ending, probably about Gina's divorce, because that was going through the recording of Quebec. Probably depression and probably drug use, right? Probably all those things are kind of intertwined here.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me. The reason I picked both of these songs was in the first song, it is a straight blame song. You did this. It's all your fault. And on this one, it kind of turns the lens back on himself a little bit. I've always thought the song was more of a conversation, and I was curious. I went looking to see if anyone else thought this, and they didn't. So probably you guys are going to make fun of me and call me stupid, because I probably am. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you the way that I feel like this song plays out. And then we can discuss or whatever. So I'm just going to kind of go through the lyrics a little bit. The first verse, he's leaving the embassy. He sees the governor and the lover holding hands, right? Which I think is a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah, sure.
And then, he gets home, he empties his suitcase, so he's not around for a while. So probably touring, right? Or something, some kind of travel related work, depending if it's strictly Gene or just some character that is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then the chorus comes in, and it's, if you could save yourself, you'd save us all. But I feel like that's coming from, let's say, the wife character.
Okay.
And then Gene comes in and says, is that what you called me for? Is that why you're knocking on my door? He's like, the time I spent working myself to death, I thought that's what you wanted. And then she comes in and says, I thought you needed my help to make it good again, to make us strong, to make you happy, to push you along and gain some respect, to be thrown a crumb. And then Gene says, I was on my knees when you knocked me down. So I feel like it's this kind of an argument going on in this chorus.
Huh.
And then the second verse is all about how everything went wrong.
The wheels fell off, the bottom dropped out, checks all bounced, I came in your mouth, breakup sex, right?
It's like it's bad thing after bad thing after bad thing after bad thing. And he's just acknowledging, like, for everything that, like, we tried to do, like, this happened, this happened, and nothing worked.
And then the chorus is the same chorus again, but louder, like they're yelling it now,
Yeah.
almost. So like this, if it's an argument, then now they're just yelling it, and then it ends. It sounds triumphant, but it's really just like the end of the marriage, and it's just done and over.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Anyway, that's my interpretation of that song.
I like that interpretation. That's good. I hadn't thought about it, and sometimes it's hard to figure out.
Well, because there's a lot of I's and U's going on there, but I think if you look at it from different perspectives.
No, I like that theory.
I always thought of it as just like a singular kind of thing where one person was analyzing, like, trying to make a relationship work. The first refrain is just like acknowledging the disconnect and how these two parties just didn't come together, didn't make things work. And then the last refrain where he starts to, like, really sing it loud and that upper registry kind of like scream sing it, like, that is like the pain and the anger just like coming through to say, like, I did everything I could, and, like, I'm so fucking mad, and, like, I can't believe that this didn't work, or, like, I can't believe you left, and, like, fuck you. Like, it just, like, it's so heart-wrenching. I was listening to this today as I was driving up the fucking highway, and it's, like, it's a song that definitely, like, gets the hair on my arms to come up, and just, like, fucking, like, gets down in my plums.
It's emotional, man.
And makes me want to scream it, too, dude. It's a huge emotional thing. A big part for me with how this band works is it's not even so much about how you connect to it. It's how you connect to it with other people.
Right.
I really did enjoy this week going back through the whole catalog of Ween and kind of getting into that early iteration of their music. That's one of the nice things about it sucks that they're not doing any new music, but one of the nice things about it is you can spend that time going back, doing history work, digging into the catalog, and find out what your new favorite track might be. So the next time you're at a show, you won't be looking around at everyone else singing the Stallion Suite.
Ween, if you're listening, I know you are. You're gonna make another record. So just go ahead and do it. Stop dicking around and make another record. The one I go back to all the time is the All Request Live concert that they did on the internet, and Gene intros it. He goes, "Hey, we're Ween. You didn't pay a cent, so don't fucking complain. This shit is free." and then he's just like, "All right, live on the internet."
And on that All Request Live is a fantastic version of Demon Sweat. So, like, listener and listener's friend, whenever you get to this, like, go check that one out too.
Yeah, it's a real drippy little slow at the beginning, and then it eases you into this face ripper guitar solo.
That's pretty awesome that you use, like, the kids' vernacular these days. Drippy is really hot with the kids. So, good on you, Frodo. Keep it.
Are you being sarcastic? Do kids actually say dripping a lot?
100%, yeah.
What do they say it in reference to?
Your style is drippy. My daughter told me that the other day.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I don't know what it means.
Do you know who else uses drippy? Cold callers.
Cold callers use drippy?
They say they want to drip on people.
What? I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
We have devolved into Ween lyrics.
What are cold callers?
Well, that's going to do it for us this week at Six Picks Music. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Thank you, listener. Thank you for bringing a friend. Thank you, listener's friend, for joining us. On the next episode of Six Picks Music, we're talking about murder. Murderers in song and the murders they commit or want to commit. Murder. This episode of Six Picks Music is produced by Peter Pants, edited by Barry Mapole, with special thanks as always to Dixie Wrecked.
Barry Mapole.